So for this froyo recipe, guys, ideally you should use a food processor, but if you don't have one, you can use a blender, although you might need to add more liquid than in a food processor. So here are the ingredients, and I'm just going to quickly gloss over them. Number one is some frozen Greek yogurt, which is quite essential to this recipe, chia seeds, cacao nibs or cocoa nibs, fresh milk. I've got here cow's milk, but you can easily just opt with non-dairy milk if you want to. Frozen bananas, which again is another essential ingredient to this recipe, and frozen blueberries. And if you don't have cacao nibs, you can use some dark chocolate instead. I've got here some Lindt sea salt dark chocolate, and it's about 50% cocoa mass. So first thing you want to do here is to soak your chia seeds in some water. I am going to take out about 2 tablespoons of chia seeds and put that into a 1/4 cup of water, as you can see there, and we'll let it soak for a couple of minutes or for as long as you're going to be doing this, and then give it a little stir. Don't make a mess as I did there, and just let it soak. Now we can start putting in the ingredients into the food processor. I'm going to start with the frozen yogurt, which I've actually just let it sit in some hot water in a bowl to let it thaw a little bit and to let the yogurt just slide out easily like that. And I'm going to use 2 containers worth, 2 tubs worth, and each one is about 120 grams. Okay, and I'm going to show you in a bit here how many calories that is for each tub or each container. So it's about 127 calories each one. So if you're going to use 2 tubs, that's almost 300 calories, just for something for you to take note of. Next, the frozen bananas go in, and in this bag I've got about 4, I would say medium-sized bananas, but I'm only going to use 3 bananas worth. So the bananas go in like so, and then here I'm going to put in roughly about 2 handfuls of blueberries. I'm a big fan of blueberries, so I don't mind going a little extra, but it is roughly about 2 handfuls, and you can see I've just dropped in a few more blueberries just for good measure. And then the milk here is really to just let it process. I mean, I want the food processor to run smoothly, so you need a little bit of liquid to let it run smoothly. I would say about 50 mils worth. And here's an ingredient that I forgot to mention earlier. So if you want something sweet, you can definitely add a little honey. Here I'm using some wild honey that my dad got recently, and I'm going to put in about a tablespoon worth here. You can obviously go and put in a little more if you want it sweeter, but if you want to keep the calories down, a tablespoon is already about 60 calories from honey. And another optional ingredient that I really like is some cinnamon. So I'm going to go ahead and dust in some cinnamon powder there. I'm quite liberal and quite generous with my dusting here, so it's up to you really. You can leave this out completely if you don't like cinnamon. And now I'm going to put the lid on, and we can blitz away. So along the way, you might need to stop and check on your frozen yogurt, and if it's not breaking up well enough, like mine isn't here, you might need to do it manually with a spoon. So just use a spoon to break it up like so, and then you can just pop the lid back on and continue to blitz. You can clearly see that I've still got some large chunks of frozen yogurt in there. So all I'm going to do here is just take my spoon and break it up again like I did the last time. And you might need to do this a few times depending on how large your frozen yogurt chunks were in the beginning. So I'd highly recommend breaking them up beforehand, before putting them in the food processor. Now I'm stopping here just to show you the kind of consistency that you want and that you're looking for. So this is exactly the froyo consistency that you want. Okay, and I will definitely continue to process this until those chunks of frozen yogurt is completely fine and smooth. But before that, I'm going to add in our 2 final ingredients, starting with the cacao nibs, about 2 tablespoons here, and as usual a little more for good measure. So I'd say maybe 2.5 tablespoons to be exact. And then our last ingredient will be your soaked or pre-soaked chia seeds. Now the reason why I'm adding these 2 at the very end is because I don't want them all mushed up. I don't want them to be completely mushed and too fine. I still want them to be grainy and give the frozen yogurt some good texture. And that's it. So now you've got some frozen yogurt with all the ingredients in, and you can see that with the cacao nibs and the chia seeds added in last, it gives it that nice kind of grainy texture that you're looking for. And all that's left to do is to put them into a container. So I've got here an empty tub, ice cream tub, and I'm just gonna keep this in the tub, and we will have this or keep this frozen until the time you're ready to eat it. So normally I'll have this after a workout, and I'll take it out of the freezer a little bit before, maybe like half an hour, 20 minutes before I'm ready to eat, to let it defrost or thaw a little. And it is so delicious and such a treat after a good workout.